Okay, let's go.
Welcome to our Fireside Chat, and today we are being joined by the one and only Kim Mallows, who is our franchisee and mindset mentor in Northants. And we are delighted you're here. So welcome, Kim, to our Fireside Chat with MiniMe Mindfulness.
Thank you. Thank you, Tessa.
So today, as always, we're going to be taking you on a journey. We're going to be talking to Kim about her journey beforehand and what she experienced in her life before MiniMe Mindfulness, what attracted her to the business, and then what it's like to be a MiniMe Mindfulness, what happens in the world of Kim with her business, what she loves best, memorable moments, and what her vision and dreams are for the future as well. So without further ado, welcome along. Kim, tell us a bit about you and a bit about your background and you as a person.
Yep, sure. So my background is actually in performing arts. So I've always had a love for theatre, film, television, and that's literally what I grew up doing. So I trained at a theatre school in London for 3 years, then I went on into professional performing for another sort of 8 years after that, and then slowly went into teaching. So I've worked with children for many, many years, from the ages of 3 up to 18, and all different levels. And I did sort of vouch I'd never be a teacher because I just love performing, and that's just all I want to do is ever be on the stage. However, when I got into teaching, I just absolutely loved sharing my experiences, my knowledge with children, and just watching them grow in so many ways, sort of developing confidence, self-esteem, and using all the skills really, I believe as a theatre performer, you need to get through life, including communication, social skills, self-belief, all of those things. So yeah, I loved what I did as a performer. And I never saw myself really doing anything else. However, as we get older, priorities change. I have a beautiful family. So I have two young girls, a dog, and a really supportive partner. And yeah, things change, priorities changed. And, you know, eventually, this is how I got into MiniMe.
Yay, and I love that. This is the part that excites me in terms of your journey. So let's share the story about, I mean, Kim and I have been connected for many years.
Yeah.
We were running similar businesses together in the network marketing space. And let's share how MiniMe Mindfulness kind of came into both of our worlds, really.
Yeah. So personal development is kind of the link between us both.
Yeah.
As you say, we were linked through a network marketing company that were very heavily into personal development, which was amazing. And I learned I'm really, really grateful. So many skills that I learned through that about myself, and realized things about myself that I needed to personally work on. However, when obviously COVID hit and lockdown happened, these skills were more important than ever. And Tessa had a group running anyway for some time, an adult group, and continued that group on because we had so much time on our hands. It was like, let's do something productive with this time. So continued that group with the adults, but obviously we had all our children at home with us. So they were just kind of, you know, there joining everything that we were doing. And Tessa obviously got Oscar involved, and he was really young at that time. Starting to lead these kind of sessions that were like, well, why are we not doing this for our children if we're doing it for adults? And I got my girls kind of joining in the sessions, and we were getting involved in various things that obviously Tessa was sharing online. And it just got me thinking in that space, because I think we all had more headspace at that time, because we do live in a fast-paced world. Definitely. And, you know, everything's sort of bam, 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 bam. And sometimes we feel we don't come up to breathe. And it just made me really rethink and take a look at what I was doing. I loved what I'm doing. In fact, I still teach in the industry at a couple of local schools that are fantastic. And I still love that. And I've not given that up, because that is a passion of mine. That was my first passion. However, there were still things I felt that were missing and I could do more of. And when I realised the importance of obviously this crisis that we had going on in the world, and how well-being, health, and mindset is at the crux of everything. And sort of watching my girls get involved and thinking they're like little sponges at this age, I just, yeah, I kind of had a list of things that I felt were missing. And I wrote down the things that I loved. So I loved working with children. I love like the energy they bring, and you just never know what's going to happen. I loved the mentoring side of what I was doing. So, you know, if I'm coaching dance or acting or whatever it is, for me, it was always about the child in the corner that couldn't speak or couldn't get up in front of the class. Like, how could I help them? Like, my biggest mission was to see that child go from, you know, then even stand up and say their name to be able to be in a show. And
I love that about you, and that it's so evident that your kind of passion and your drive to really create impact, and I love that that's what drives you. It's, you know, and I think sometimes when they're performing world, you think that it's, you know, it is about being on stage and being, you know, creating that kind of entertainment value for other people and bringing the joy that way. But you really have such a big heart that actually that you want others to be able to experience that and come on that journey. And I think when you've got that yourself, or you've worked on that and you filled some of the gaps yourself, you then know those pieces that you can put in place and the impact that you can have by sharing that knowledge. And I love that you're driven by that.
Yeah. So to me, it wasn't, like I say, it wasn't about being the most talented person. It's about from where they're starting, from where they want to get to, and helping them on that journey. And sort of looking at my own girls as well and seeing them so young, it just ticked all the boxes. And actually, I came to you, Tessa, didn't I?
You
And I
did.
remember exactly where I sat. I sat in Airchester Country Park. It was obviously, you could only travel so far and go to, you know, so many places at a time. And I sat in the car and I'd written down all the things that I wanted to do. And obviously I've been joining these sessions, and it was like a light bulb moment. And I thought, that is it. Tessa needs to create this into a business that we can share with everyone. So I'm going to get on to her today. And I sent you a voice note and I was like, Tessa, you need to do something with this. And whatever you do with it, I'm in, because I just want to be involved, because this is incredible. And it literally is everything that is missing from my life. So,
Yeah, and do you know, and the thing is, I remember receiving that message, and at that time, and everyone watching can probably think back to 2020, there were so many challenges going on globally, and we did spend so much more time with our children, and we started MiniMe Mindfulness, like those online sessions, because I turned to Oscar and said, do you want to do like a little Boss Your Morning, which is our adult mindset coaching for kids? And he was like, yeah, okay. Then he knew exactly what that meant, because as you've already said, kids are like little sponges and they look at what's happening around them and they pick up on their vibes. So as far as Oscar's concerned, every house wakes up and does their meditation and gratitude and affirmations and works on themselves before they go out the door. He doesn't know any different because he's grown up in that home. So when I said that to him, he knew exactly what I meant. And so when we flipped open the laptop on the first time to say, okay, right, let's do this. What do we call it? Right, let's call this MiniMe Mindfulness. We came up with that name within about 45 seconds. Actually, when you're now writing it on emails and websites, it's like, oh my gosh, could we have picked something smaller? But we didn't expect it to now be an award-winning national franchise. So at that time, it was kind of, you know, a really lovely introduction, wasn't it, to all of our kids. And what I love about that group is that as soon as we opened that group, that went from, you know, from Oscar and I kind of opening that Facebook group to then 100 parents to then 200 parents. Within the end of that first week, we had 1,500 parents on that Facebook group. They didn't all tune in live, but they were there watching the recordings and having that kind of that zooming into their home of these mindfulness and mindset techniques that we teach. And that was it was mind blowing really at the time, because sometimes when you're doing something naturally, you feel like everyone else knows this stuff. But actually they don't. And then and that sense of community at the time, I think, was stronger than ever. So that message, when that came through, I had a few messages from different parents saying, oh my gosh, this is amazing, or could you do this for kids? And then that kind of then I think too, when like minds kind of come together around there's something in this. And you know, and again, you know, and I thought, and I remember that message coming through from you on instant messenger saying, if you turn this into a business, I'm in. Like, right, okay. So it's not just me. There's other people that think this is going to be a fabulous idea, and it's totally what the world needs, to plug that gap. And yeah, that was just such a beautiful moment of meeting of minds. And then from there, we created MiniMe Mindfulness as the brand that it started to be, going into schools and nurseries and obviously communities. And Kim was one of the first franchisees to kind of literally, because I had a few people kind of, together kind of wanted to make this work. And once I'd kind of proven that system and created something that I thought was tangible to then be able to share with other people, Kim was one of the first there, literally through the door, going, "Yep, absolutely, let's make this work." And I love that about you. So tell us a bit about your kind of from the yes to now, kind of, what do you do? Like, what's your MiniMe Mindfulness journey been like?
Yeah, so one of my actually, it started off with a bang because literally I did sort of 3 months of training. That was at the time through the various courses and things that we had to do, and obviously the preparation, the learning. And then I was so fortunate that I went bang straight in to a school to do a whole school approach. So I got to work with 250 kids in a primary school, and it was incredible. And I remember the head was really, really forward thinking. Obviously, we've been through COVID, and he just understood. He literally said, our teachers are on their knees, and we need someone like you to come in, lift us all up,
Wow.
and fresh start. And I just think, it isn't about that one child that needs it, it's about everyone. So it was amazing, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity, because that was kind of like my launch pad of me, really kind of like seeing how this was all going to pan out. I believed completely in what I had in my hands. I mean, when I looked at the lesson plans, I remember just sort of going, this is amazing. I knew it was going to be good, but when I read through the lesson plans, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to work like this and this and this. I could just see it all happen. But what really,
and you've got a real talent about that, like visualizing things in your head and being able to see that in action. That's a real gift that you have in terms of, and I suppose that comes from your acting days, like reading through a script and then being able to visualize all that happening, playing out as it's written.
Yeah. And what happened was when I went into that, sorry, that's when I went into that assembly, so it was with the primary school that I was going to be working with. They said, we've got a group of governors coming in this afternoon, and we've got obviously everyone's going to be there. Would you mind just doing a little bit of an assembly to kind of sharing what you're going to be doing next term? And I was like, yeah, of course. Bearing in mind this was the first time I'd done anything MiniMe. I was like, yeah, of course I can do that. And I walked into that assembly, and the most amazing thing happened. I popped on one of Oscar's meditations, and it was literally like, you could hear a pin drop, just to experience all the children literally just absorbed it in that moment. It was just silent. And when they shared their experiences afterwards, honestly, some of the things the children would come out with was amazing. And I never forget that moment, because it was such a special moment. And I was like, this really works. This really works. I knew it did, but I needed to kind of see it visually. And obviously we have a range of meditations. We have shorter ones, longer ones, so we build up, and obviously we teach really young preschoolers as well. So it is a skill that we build on. It's not like waving a magic wand and everyone's going to be amazing. But to see that many children just absorb it and take that time and just have that moment of stillness, it was almost kind of like a breath of fresh air. It's like the whole of that school, after such a turbulent time in the world, just taking that breath and that moment to reset. It was just really magical moment, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, and do you know what? That's something that if you're watching this and you're not quite sure what we do in terms of our products and how our uniqueness, one of them is that we have our mentoring for kids by kids. So in every session that's heard throughout the whole of the country, whether it's online or in person, every child hears from a child's voice. And those children are Oscar and Annie. They're my children, so super proud of everything that they've done. But they are they lead the meditations. And I think that engagement that you witnessed and that we see in every session that we do and build up to, the engagement is super high because of the connection of hearing a voice just like theirs. And I think children don't hear that often enough, maybe on YouTube or on TV, but actually in their education setting, that peer-led mentoring is really, really powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, they need someone they can relate to, and working with older children as well, sort of like up to year 6, and especially boys as well, that I've been working with recently. It's that having that role model, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we all need a role model, and sometimes, sadly, in this world, not every child has it within their family members, or it might be a teacher, or it might be a friend, or it might be just, yeah, like you say, someone on YouTube. But having Annie and Oscar there is relatable for them to think, oh, actually they struggled when that happened, or how did they feel when they were doing something for the first time, they had those nervous bubbles in their tummy, so how did they get over that? So it gives them, it gives them direction and someone to follow, to go, actually, that's like me, I'm not alone.
Because they feature in our stories a lot. We teach a lot through stories. So the children hear as a third person what can happen, the challenges that can or possibly will come up in their life, and how the tools that they can use to be able to overcome them. And then we go on and teach them the skills to be able to. So not just about creating that awareness, but also giving them the tools to be able to move them from where they are to where they want to be. And yeah, that guidance. So the children see Oscar and Annie on our banners and on our posters. They can kind of visually see the children, and then they hear their voices. And it is there is that kind of weaving of that mentoring for kids by kids all the way through our session. So I love that. And you never forget those first moments, do you? They just, once they're created, that's it. That's your story for life, which is brilliant. So in terms of what do you do, like what does a day in the life of Kim, MiniMe Mindfulness look like, or a week in the life, if you like? So
Yeah.
someone looking at this as a business would think, what do you actually do then? What does it look like?
Yeah, yeah. So as I said before, I'm a busy mum, so I weave my work around my girls, which is obviously a massive bonus of being self-employed. I've always been self-employed, so I've always had that in mind. So that's obviously something amazing to be able to do. So often I work in schools or nurseries, so each term can be different. So you could have a year's contract with a school or a nursery. You could have a terms contract. It all varies. So we work bespokely with each of our settings. So for example, this term, I'm working in a school. I'm not doing a whole school approach, but I'm working with individuals or small cohorts. And that's across all age ranges in a primary school. So I'm working specifically on their specific needs. We have 25 superpower topics, and I tailor them to suit the children that I'm working with. So it could, involve areas of mindset or mindfulness. So mindfulness, example is like our breath, keeping in the present moment, and then you've got your mindset, which is more about how you feel about yourself, self-belief, resilience, all of those ones too.
Yeah.
So I'm working in a school this term doing that. I also have before school clubs and after school clubs. So this is where parents can fund the children to stay on to these clubs, but sometimes the schools will fund that as well, and it just gives children the opportunity to learn these skills if they don't have the chance to learn them in school. They're really fun in the sessions. Like Tessa said, we structure them in the same way, but we focus on different superpowers each week, and that involves games, activities, stories, role playing. The great thing about this is we're all from very different backgrounds. Obviously, I'm more theatrical, so I may have more sort of drama games and role playing in mine. Where there's a lot of teachers involved, they may have something completely different that obviously they've used in their teaching profession.
And just on that, everyone is given a full curriculum, so they don't have to come up with any ideas. It's all voice. So every superpower comes with kind of 2 stories and between 4 and 7 games. And what I love about our community is that kind of that difference of backgrounds and ideas, and we share ideas, and we support each other on different challenges and different, we all bring those skill sets to the table, but you don't have to be the creative because the creation is all done for you.
Yeah. But what I love about it is, because that was one of my tick boxes as well, being in performing arts, you are pressurized to be creative all the time, obviously choreographing, coming up with scripts, different things for different shows. And as a parent, when you are so busy with your own family life, the time I had to be creative, I felt very pressured, like, oh, I've got an hour now to choreograph 3 routines. I've got to get it done. And when you're creative, sometimes you need to be in that creative mindset. So that was another thing that I felt, oh, I need something else. So what I love is, as Tessa said, all the lesson plans are there, the structure is there. However, I do come up with ideas to add games in and things like that. So there is room to maneuver within that structure. However, I keep to the structure, but I also obviously vocalize my ideas to Tessa, and often then she'll, we'll share with each other and say, oh, this worked really well, that we can add that to that superpower. So we can still be creative at the same time. You haven't got to reinvent the wheel and start from scratch. So it saves my brain power, which is amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
So I'm working in a school at the moment, working mainly with cohorts. However, previous terms, I've worked with a whole school approach. So I can be in a school, for 2 or 3 days, depending on how many children they have in that school. And that is generally between the hours of 9:30 till 2:30, because I fit it in so I can collect and take my girls to and from school. Except when I have after school clubs. And then nurseries. So I have nurseries that I'm working in, or preschool children. So we teach from the ages of 3. And I absolutely love this because, as I said earlier, they are like little sponges. And because actually my girls were this age when I started this, I have total belief in it, because now my girls, 4 or 5 years on, have literally, these skills have kind of been drilled into them, whether they wanted to or not. They saw mummy doing it, this is, lead by example. Mummy does a boss your morning, and mummy has mummy time where I need some quiet time. So they get all of that. They've done workshops with me. They've done my clubs with me. And it's really amazing seeing them absorb the skills, and now where they are 4 years down the line. They're very different in personalities and they have different challenges about them. But actually, some of the things they say, they share, and they come out with, I'm just like, they've got that from this. So it makes me so proud. Working with nurseries, I absolutely love. And I love the fact that, when I first start to work with them, they can be a bit all over the place. It takes time to settle. And then after a few weeks kick in, that consistency, I can work with a group of children, and week 1, they can probably sit for 10 or 20 seconds and listen to a meditation. And then by, the end of the year, they could, listen to a full meditation, lay down, and I have to kind of like wake them up. So it's really powerful. It is really powerful.
It's so lovely seeing that transition, isn't it? Because it's can actually, because there's so many people, the response around, especially meditation or breath work, and, for children that are so young, I often hear, oh, my little Jimmy wouldn't be able to do that. They can't sit still for 5 seconds. And it's like, but the thing is, all these things can be taught. They are skills. And of course, we teach all brains in all ways. So we are, we are informed around other, the way that, our makeup is different. However, when you're teaching little Jimmy to ride a bike, he's not going to go and turn the pedals and go straight away. He's going to fall off a few times. He's going to wobble. He's going to have to get back on. He's going to have to be resilient. And I feel that that's the same with what we teach. It's like that's why we have that curriculum of like 25 superpowers, and why we like to work with, nurseries and schools and parents and communities like for that longer period of time. Because, if you do something for, a short snap of 6 weeks and then you stop, you might forget, and it's like, it's that continual development, isn't it, of children, and it's beautiful to watch how quickly they're like little sponges, aren't they? They just soak up the information and how much they remember, and if that can become part of their makeup, for us, that's perfection, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what's been your favorite part of what's your favorite thing about having a mini mindfulness business?
Um, I love the teaching. I love being front of house. That's my favourite thing. You know, getting stuck in, teaching the children. But it's seeing their development and their progress, and the comments you get from the parents at home. You know, literally last week I had a child come to the session for the first week, and they were obviously a little bit anxious, a bit nervous. And then when they came home, the parents sent me a message just saying, you know, my child was really nervous about coming, but they came home with, like, you know, they were shining bright. They, you know, they were sort of had stars
Wow.
in their eyes with excitement. And and she said they gave so much love when they came home. They showed so much love and affection, and it was just, wow, you know, that was amazing from such, you know, a child from reception age. But there's so many comments. It's the feedback and, yeah, the progress that you see. And I just love working with the children of all ages, and even, you know, up to, you know, year 6 boys. I've, you know, that was completely other end of the spectrum, but I've loved them, you know, coming in, and some of the boys saying before they get ready for a football match now, they're having some mindful moments and they're putting on a meditation, and it's getting them in the right headspace. You know, these are boys that have had a lot of challenges at school, not got particularly on well at school, and, you know, going through some difficult times. The fact that they've, you know, learned that skill to go, actually, I need that time to prepare myself. And it's like, if
Brilliant.
we can teach all kids this is like, literally, we can make such a change across, you know, across the world, really. But I think one of my favorites is, yeah, obviously from a personal perspective, my family, because we were lucky enough, thanks to Tessa, having the chance to go to Camp Festival this year and represent MiniMe Mindfulness. Yeah, we've never experienced anything like that before. And the fact that both of my girls were up on the stage area with mummy teaching this to, like, there was a lot of groups of families at this event, and there were sort of babies and toddlers and, you know, parents with up to teenagers, like, you know, dancing to the music we've got on, rolling about on the floor, doing breathing exercises. And my girls were there with me, immersed themselves in it. And one of my daughters completely takes it all on board and really gets into it. And my other daughter is more reserved, and she will absorb things inwardly. And she's not the type of child that would come across as being really overly confident. And there, you know, if I'd looked, you know, 3 years ago, she, you know, she wouldn't have even been in a room where there was that amount of people, let alone being on the stage in front of that amount of people. So it just showed me the power of the skills that we teach, to know that actually just those consistent little steps, whether you think that child is listening or not, will absorb that information, and they will take it on board in their own way, and when they're ready to show it. And with some, it takes longer than others, but just seeing the changes in that, you know, slowly growing confidence and being able to try things new and having that courage, whereas before they wouldn't have even entertained it, but to have that courage to be in that public domain was just like, wow. And because my, you know, their dad was with us, he'd never seen me deliver any sessions. He was in charge of photography, bless him, and carrying bags. Yeah, bless him. He did a really good job, and he was like, that was amazing. Like, I think he was shocked to see, you know, to see the girls, how they were and how they responded to it.
So I'm just reading between the lines and transcribing all of that information. So really, I'm seeing that your the things that you love most are impact and variety. Because your impact in terms of the children that you're working with, and the impact that you see firsthand with your own children in that environment, and the ability to work with so many different age groups in lots of different ways, and Camp Festival obviously being that cherry on the cake, which is like, and I'm really pleased that you shared that, because a lot of people's perception of mini me mindfulness, it's mindset coaching for kids, mindset mentoring for kids, but the perception of that is that we're laying in a dark room with like, all
Yeah.
like completely chilled and relaxed. And we do some of that in terms of our meditation, but we also teach children how to change their energies. And music, games, movement, fun is so much, that's the makeup of what we do, because that's how the kids learn. So
Yeah.
bringing what we do to Camp Festival and partnering with the best festival in the world, we're so proud of that. And we're
Yeah.
so proud of you, Kim, last year for representing MiniMe Mindfulness in such a beautiful way. And to hear the transition from your daughter's perspective, literally going from wouldn't have been able to be in that environment to now being on the stage, and the pride that your family probably took in seeing you do what you're passionate about is
Yeah.
just incredible, isn't it? And it's like mixing that kind of work and pleasure, and they say when you love what you do, you never work another day in your life. And it's those moments like that when you think, I get that.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. So yeah.
And obviously, with all the good stuff that goes on with a business, being a business owner, there's so much stuff to do. And there's
Yeah.
also other things that happen that are not, that it's not all unicorns and rainbows. What's the biggest challenges that you've had in terms of your business so far?
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, it's backstage. So from a performance perspective, I'm happy front of stage. Backstage takes a lot of, organisation for me. Obviously, I mean, to be fair, you have an amazing system and for us to support us backstage, Tessa, and the admin. You've got everything there to support us. It's just I'm such a creative front of house person, and I've been that way for so many years that having to kind of again become a student and relearn myself how to work those parts of the business. So that is, it's working out your strengths and your weaknesses. It's also choosing to challenge yourself to improve, because we're all still learning. It doesn't matter how we are. So for me, the admin and the technical back house side of it is the bit that I personally find the most challenging. But, there's two ways we can look at it. Either I've got to, get stuck and become a student and learn, or, I ask for help and I get experts to help me with that as well. But the amazing thing is we're all in this together, and the team of franchisees, we've all got different strings to our bow. So we all lean on each other. And it's amazing, that support network, that if you're not sure about something, there's always someone that can give you the answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my honest.
And I love that. I love the fact that we have created the most collaborative, supportive team of heart-led leaders that really do cheer each other on and support each other. And that's what I love about a franchise. I love the franchise concept, because when you buy a franchise, you have that franchise territory that's locked out for you, and you're the one that's going to build the business within that franchise territory. And although you've got franchisees around the country that are in different, we go from Staffordshire at the moment, in 2025, we're the furthest north is Staffordshire, the furthest south is Newquay in mid Cornwall, and we've got franchises in between. So, but the thing is, everyone is on the same journey, aren't they? Some of the people are on chapter 1, some of them are on chapter 4 or 5, and everyone has different skill sets. But the talent in our pool is incredible, and I'm so super proud of that. And in terms of your visions for the future, where do you want it to go? What do you see for yourself and MiniMe Mindfulness in the future?
So I think it's on a broader perspective, really, like how I want to see it is I would love MiniMe to be part of the school curriculum. So we'll just start at that level, shall we?
Let's go in there.
And then work backwards. Because anyone that works in a school knows how crammed timetables are. And I believe, obviously PE is a massive thing now, physical education, that's just the norm. They have to be doing PE, twice a week or whatever it is, as part of their healthy lifestyle, and obviously education and all of that side of it. So why is mindset not in there? So for me, it's about sharing what we do with as many people as possible. And yes, I would love, for me locally, to be the person, the go-to, where they go, let's get mini mindfulness in, let's get Kim and her team in to support our school, because I've heard they're doing amazing things, which we are. And we've got an incredible reputation, and the progress we are able to support our school, our staff and our children with, we cannot not afford to have them to come to our school. So that's what I would love for the future. And also, the homeschooling groups, there's so many opportunities around this area. I would just love it to become part of the norm. Okay, who's your mindset coach, basically?
Well, and do you know what? You're so right. And actually, it is that change in that sea of change, isn't it? You say PE is just that's what everyone does. And I think now everyone realizes actually we've got such a complex machine up here that to be able to understand it, and then to be able to understand what to do to support it, to achieve the best outcomes for both our children and the parents and the teachers, the adults that are kind of around them. If we all can all link arms and learn this stuff together, and some of it is not rocket science, it is neuroscience, and we teach that too. And I love the fact that we can blend mindfulness mindset and neuroscience in this fun way. And I do believe we've cracked it. We've cracked the code to kind of bringing this into classrooms and into homes and supporting schools, nurseries and communities within this. And as you say, the home education community is building rapidly, and we can also support, I'm with you, Kim. Let's make this happen. So if someone is looking, and the thing is, in terms of making this happen, what we do need, we have lots of online courses, which is led by Oscar, and our mentoring for kids by kids. So we can really scale our impact. So at this level, when we're having those conversations, like what can we do for county councils? What can we do for this multi-academy trust? We can serve them all because we have our mentoring for kids by kids, and we know the power of that engagement. But what we can also do on the ground is actually help people with that in-person stuff as well. And for that, we're building our community of like-minded, franchisees and mindset mentors, within our local community. So if someone's watching this right now, thank you, first of all, for staying till the end, because it's really important that you really see all of the things that go on within a MiniMe Mindfulness business. But what would your top tip or best advice be to them?
Leading with your heart and with your passion, because so I just think, if you feel in your gut that you are passionate about well-being and getting this across to schools, getting this to our future generation, then just go for it, because there has never been a time more right than now. Now is the time to get involved in this, this industry, to be able to impact, because what is the other answer? As we know, the waiting list, the NHS, sadly, they are amazing, but they are stacked. There is no which way for them to go. So they need, MiniMe Mindfulness to come in and support in other areas where they are overflowing, and they just don't know where to turn to. So we actually need people to get involved in this, to help, to share, to make changes, because I don't see how else there are going to be positive changes within this area unless we're involved in that. So for me, it's about, you're in the right time at the right place, and we need more help than ever. So as many people that can get involved in this, come on board, please, to help us, because we only have so many hours in a day. And although we have our online courses, we still need that interconnection. We need that personal, approach, because we all love that energy of being around people and helping people feel the very best of themselves.
Yeah, amazing. And that is, do you know what? And when you're looking at something like this, you're never going to be 100% until you kind of get to the end of your first year, or until you get that moment like Kim did, when you actually see our sessions in practice, and then you think, do you know what? Yes, this is the real deal, and this is what you've been searching for. So if you are 90%, 95%, that's your call to take action. So I would love to meet up. If you're watching this, in the comments below, you can click on a discovery call. You can arrange a one-to-one. Let's have a chat, and let's see if you're right for us and if we're right for you. So just as parting words, has there been any funny instances or anything else that you want to share with us, or any kind of moments of joy?
Oh gosh, just yeah, so many moments. I can't even think of any to depict. But I think, yeah, it's funny the fact they don't realise that Annie and Oscar are real. They do think they're kind of made up animated characters, and sort of when I say they are real, they sort of go, "What?" So yeah, that always makes me giggle. Actually, bless them.
And
Um,
I love the fact actually, even our photographer said that joined our that came to our kind of conference, like, oh, there they are, there they are. They're such I love the fact that they are creating so much of an impact, but they're not they know what they do, they know they show up, they know they do the meditations, they've always kind of done it, and they're very kind of humble in what they do. And they've got
yeah,
no idea really the ripple effect of the tens of thousands of children that
yeah.
have heard their voices and seen their faces and that they've made a difference to. So
Yeah, and apart from me smashing a few snow globes every now and again and glittering the
occupational hazard, we'll put that down to.
yes, glittering the snow, the offices and the rooms, but they're always sparkling when I leave them. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, the world sparkles when you're in it, Kim. So thank you so
thank
much for being
you.
that sparkle in the world that everyone needs a bit of Kim in their life. And you know what? And if you are in Northamptonshire and you're watching this and you're interested in working with us, connect with Kim, because she will have opportunities coming up as her empire builds across Northants, as the demand grows, and as the schools, the nurseries, and communities hear about what we do. So yeah, get in touch. And if you're a school or a nursery, you're listening to this and you want to work with Kim, then reach out to her, because there's only so many hours in the day, so she can serve only the lucky few, if you like. And we do know that the demand is huge as well. So thank you so much for your time, Kim. I've loved chatting to you,
Thank
and
you.
thank you. You've given me so much value in this. It's going to be brilliant watch for anyone who's interested in finding out what we do, how we work, how we serve, and the impact that we create.
Feel
Thank you
free
so
to
much
get
for
in
your
touch.
time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.